Hi friends, welcome to video. If you're new here, my name is Kristen and DoSo Knits is my knitting YouTube channel where I share with you guys how knitting has interwoven into my life. Sometimes there's some other fiber crafts as well, but it's mostly knitting. Thank you so much for being here. So today is Christmas. If you are celebrating, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and if you celebrate other holidays, happy holidays to you as well. I know family time on Christmas, but Shane is playing video games and I wanted to record, and we already opened our gifts, so here we are. But with it being the 25th of December, that also means there are only 6 days until 2023, which is crazy. So I feel like I'm on a little bit of a mission to try and finish as many projects as I can from 2022 before we head into 2023. I have gathered all of my projects here. There's a ton. I was really optimistic that I would be able to do this before I sat down to record and pulled everything out. But yeah, so I wanted to take you guys with me, a little vlog over the next week to see how many ends I can weave in before the end of the year. That's a little knitting pun. Did you see it? Did you like it? So at the beginning of this video, I just want to show you guys what projects I have, kind of what my plans are. Some of them are definitely not something that will be finished by the end of the year. Some of them are in deep hibernation with me having no plans of finishing it really right now. I'm not really working on them, but then there are others that I would really like to try and finish. So I just thought I would give you guys a little rundown of what I have, a little bit of talking up here at the beginning of the video, and then I will take you guys with me throughout the rest of the week on a little vlog showing you what I can finish, seeing what I can do before the end of 2022. So I have my handy dandy whiteboard. I usually use this to track my stash changes, but at the end of the year, I have decided I will be using this as kind of my motivator to see what projects I have, and I will update it with you guys as we go through this. So on here I have my not to finish section for bigger projects that I am definitely not planning to finish, and then my to finish section. These are the things that I would like to get done over the next 6 or 7 days. 7 days left of the year to actually knit if you count today as a knitting day, which I am, because after this I am knitting. So first I want to start with projects that I do not think I will be finishing, things that are kind of in deep hibernation. I just want to show them so that you know they're a work in progress, but on my Ravelry project pages, which all of that will be linked down in the description box below, they are either on my Ravelry as hibernating, or I should probably move them to hibernating because I'm not actively working on them. So the first thing I've pulled out from kind of a deep hibernation, Ebony is coming, is my Cozy Memories blanket. This is a run over from 2020. This is how big my Cozy Memories is. And honestly, if I do, so I'm almost out of rectangle, and if I did 6 more squares right here, it would be, it would be a square that's done. The reason this is in hibernation is because I started some other blankets and just something about this project did not seem fun anymore. I love looking at people's finished ones, and for a while I literally was pulling scraps of every project that I did, putting them in. It was a bag at the time, now it's in this box. And I have a ton of minis left in here, but it's just not something I've kept up with. It hasn't been something that's been calling to me. I don't know if I can fathom knitting a whole blanket with these tiny squares. Each of these squares takes me about 40 minutes each, so it's just kind of in deep hibernation. I have thought maybe I would finish the 6 squares and then just give this to Ebony, who is my cat, who loves blankets. So, maybe if I decide to do that, this can be an end of the year project, but otherwise it's just going back in this box with all these scraps. Because I don't know. I love how they look. The idea of knitting on it just does not appeal to me right now. So that's the first project. The next project I probably will not be finishing is a granny square blanket that I started using my Row 1 minis. I started this earlier this year, and I'm using fingering weight held double to do these granny squares. This is the final size of my squares. I think it's about 10 rounds. They're 12 rounds. And I'm just using fingering weight held double to make these granny squares. I have all of my Row 1 minis along with some other minis in this giant 31 bag that I put all my pins on. So this is definitely not going to be finished by the end of the year. I have only done this one square. I think I may, in the new year, take a day, kind of how Kay from Crazy Sock Lady has Scrappy Sundays, like a day to work on scrappy projects to try to get them done, because I just never really pick up this granny square blanket. So I feel like maybe having some dedicated time would be really good. I have a dream of having a giant granny square with giant squares blanket. I want a huge blanket for queen size mattress with these giant squares. This is the biggest square I could get from a 10 skein mini, and I think it's pretty good. So that's something I'd like to try to dedicate more time to in the new year. The next thing I have no plans of finishing this year is my Cozy Comfort Throw that I am using a Homespun House 2021's Advent in. This is how far I am so far. I think I'm on my 5th color. I just made 2 giant cakes of yarn, and I did them in kind of a faded, kind of like a rainbow gradient. And this is just I don't know, it's just a comfort project. I literally leave it over here on the ground beside my computer desk. So when I'm editing videos or when I am in Zoom meetings for work, it is something that is always there. It is garter stitch. I don't have to think about it. So I don't necessarily actively work on it, but it's something that, I mean, I've put a lot of work into it over the past couple of weeks, and I can see more of the progress. So keeping it by my computer desk has definitely helped get some of this progress done. However, it won't be done by the end of the year. I'm only on 5 colors and I have 24 colors total. So I think overall a theme is blankets take me a very long time. I think I stall out on them. I get very excited to start them, but then I typically stall out. So that's like good information for myself to know. I mean, I'm very happy to be bringing the Granny Square and the Cozy Memories into the new year. Not the Cozy Memories, the Cozy Comfort Throw and the Granny Square into the new year. I'm less enthused about bringing the Cozy Memories over into a new year. The more I think about it, the more likely I think I might just do 6 squares. Because if I did a square day until the end of the year, I could just call it a rectangle and call it done for now. And then if I ever want to, I can always add like more squares to it later in the future. But for like now, it could be Ebony's blanket. Okay, so then we have some real confession time and things that we have to figure out, because these are all projects that I've been working on, things that are relatively new, all things that were cast on this year. And in my brain, I would like to finish as many of them before 2023 as I can. We'll see how this goes. I'm gonna show these in no particular order. I have no plans on like priority of what I'm trying to finish first. So once we get everything kind of out in the open, I think I'll be able to figure that out. So I'm just gonna grab from the pile and not grab intentionally. The next thing I have is a pair of vanilla socks that I started. They're Christmas colorway socks, so honestly, I really should probably try to finish before the end of the year so that I don't lose momentum. This is how far we're at. The colorway is Christmas Jammies by a Homespun House with a color of Macintosh. I'm not very far. It's been living in my backpack as a like if we're out and about knitting project, and I just really haven't worked on it. So if I dedicate some time, I can usually knock out socks pretty quickly. It's just a matter of factoring them into my other knitting. So not super worried about it if I can find the time to dedicate to this project. I definitely want those socks. So that is what I do think I need to finish before the end of the year, because it is like Christmassy themed. So finishing it in December would be ideal. So then the next one, I'll just stay with socks for a second because I think it'll be easiest. I started a pair of Regia socks in this color, Candy Color. It is the color 1160. And I started this because we were going to the movies to see Avatar, which is a 3.5 hour long movie. For some reason, I thought my Christmas jammy socks weren't going to have enough knitting on them. So I started a new sock. So this sock is for Shane. It's a 64 stitch sock. This is where I'm at. I did all of this before the movie and then knit basically the whole leg in the movie. So honestly, it was a good amount of knitting. It took me through the whole movie to do it. I love how these look, but they are also very Christmassy. So would like to finish these before the new year rolls around. This is the length of the leg I will be doing, and then I just need to pop in the heel and then go on my way on the foot. So this one is at the heel, and this is a sock for Shane, so it's 64 stitches versus the Christmas jammy socks, which are socks for me, so 56. Then the last socks are in this Christmas Cats bag from A Stolen Minutes. These are my Advent socks, which I was trying to finish them up yesterday, but I just did not have enough time. I have finished one of them. So these are a self-striping. You get a stripe a day. You knit one color every day up until the 24th of December. So I finished this one yesterday. I bound off the top. I did these toe up. And then I just got behind on these throughout December. So I have 9 more stripes to do on this second sock plus the cuff. I do think I'll be able to knock out a good portion of that pretty soon. I would like to finish these, probably my next projects that I want to finish. So the next thing I'm working on, I really don't know if I'll be able to finish this, but I would really like to. This is a Montrealer for my husband, Shane. This is where I'm at. So I took this on my birthday trip this past week, and we had a really long car ride. It basically doubled because of the amount of snow we had. So I basically did the whole body. I have done the pocket, attached the pocket, done the ribbing. So now I'm working on this pocket trim. On this I still have the sleeves to go, the hood, and the drawstring. I do really want to start a sweater for myself, but I've just been putting in so much time on this that I feel like if I start a sweater for myself, I am going to stall out on this again. So I would like to maybe use this as motivation to then finish, to then allow me to start a sweater for myself. I started this for Shane in March. The goal is to get it to him for his birthday, which is in June, and obviously it's now December. So I've just been working on this. It's been honestly really lovely to work on. It's just a raglan. The pocket was a bit fiddly, but now we're past it, doing the pocket linings. And I think like the sleeves will be a nice reprieve, nothing too complex or new there. The hood will be a little bit of a learning experience, and then the drawstring is just a really long I-cord. So that's all of that. Next is in this Another Stolen Minutes bag. This is not knitting. This is an embroidery project, but I am so close to finishing this. This is what this looks like. And I have finished everything, but I just have to do these leaves. And this has just been bringing a lot of joy. I would like to finish this before the new year. So that is that. Not knitting, but still a handcraft. Then I have in my Coconuts Craft Caddy, this is my 2019 Mystery Knit Along shawl by Homespun House. So this is how far I am. It's 4 50-gram colors plus a mohair. I'm on the second color of 4. I've really enjoyed every time I've picked this up to work on it, and it is something I do really want to be able to wear in the colder weather. So I would really like to make this a priority, but I know it is going to be quite a bit of knitting, especially with some of my other projects. So we'll see. I would really, really like to get that one done. Do you see this cat? Do you see what she's doing? Trying to get into the yarn. Stop. I know. So then these two projects are the real questions. Is one even a project? I'll let you guys kind of help me decide. But the first one is, this is my Anthology Throw that I started with my Nora George Advent from last year. It's also a blanket. I'm probably going to throw this in the not to finish category as well, because there is no way I'm going to be able to finish this. And I don't necessarily want to rip it out. I love how it looks. I would just like to keep working on this. I just don't think it's something I'm going to be able to focus on for the remainder of this month. So maybe it goes in the not to finish pile so that I can focus on some other projects for these last 7 days. Because I really do love that, and I don't necessarily want to just like rush through it. We'll see. If I get through all the things to finish, maybe that one will move categories, but for right now I think it has to go in the not to finish pile. And then this is something that's just been living in a project bag because I haven't been able to decide what to do with it. So like technically it's a finished object, but also technically it's not because I can't use it. These are my campfire socks that I did. And one sock ended up way bigger than the other because my gauge was completely off. So I have quite a bit of the yarns left, and I was planning to just knit another small sock for myself to see if I can get it to be the right size, and then depending on how much yarn was left, maybe try to squeeze out a taller sock for Shane too, because this one is pretty close to his size. I don't know, my gauge, I just wasn't used to using this base. I wasn't knitting as tightly, so it was really, really loose. So it's not really a work in progress, but it is something that I want to do. So we'll just throw it on the list. It's not a priority, I guess. If I need to do it later, I can. It'll all be fine. So with that, here's my expo board updated. I have 6 projects that I would like to try and finish before the end of the year, with 3 of them being socks, the 1 sweater, a shawl, and my embroidery. And then I have 5 projects that I don't necessarily want to finish, / they'll be going back into hibernation, with 4 of them being blankets and that 1 pair of socks. I do think I need to figure out my blanket game, because this is kind of ridiculous how many blankets I have. I mean, blankets are definitely a long-term project, so I don't know. Do they even count? If they're just like long-term, like I have no plans to finish them, do they count? But that is where we're at for now. I don't have any priorities set for right now. I guess my 2 things that I've been working on most actively are my Advent socks and my Montrealer. So that's probably what I'll be working on next the rest of this morning. I need to clean up this mess of projects and get started with knitting for the rest of the day. I know this intro was really long. Hopefully it's not too long and the rest of the video will be more vloggy. So now I'm in the basement. I've prioritized what I want to start with. So I grabbed 2 projects that I think I'm going to be able to knock out pretty quickly. So I have my Cozy Advent socks. So I have 9 stripes on those. And yesterday I was able to do 5 pretty easily in the evening. And then I brought down my embroidery because I don't have much left on that. So I figured 2 small projects. I'll try to see how much I can do, how quickly. At least until I get bored of these. And I'll see how far I can get until it's time for lunch. It's about 11 o'clock now. So we'll see how far I can get. I'm gonna just watch some TV and get crafting. morning. It's Monday morning. We're back in my office in front of my yarn. Yesterday was a pretty productive day. I got both the projects done that I wanted to, so let me show you them. So I finished this cozy blue embroidery kit. I think it looks so nice, and I just gotta find a place to hang it up. I do have like a wall here in my office that doesn't really have anything on it, so maybe I can start like an embroidery wall there, but I don't know. It's still up for debate. We have also like no pictures or things in the basement really, so maybe that'll be a good place too. I'm not really sure, but I'm glad this is done. I have so many more embroidery kits that I have bought after doing an embroidery class, so I've definitely caught a little bit of a bug with embroidery. It's just really meditative and lovely. So that is done. I did a little, you like do a running stitch and pull it tight. I did a reel on my Instagram showing it because it's really satisfying. So I don't have any like felt or anything on here. I think it's fine as is right now. Maybe I'll get some felt in the future. But also last night I did finish, I mean we were up pretty late, but I did finish my Advent socks. So I literally yesterday on the second sock did from this green stripe all the way to the top of the cuff. So it was a good amount of knitting. I spent a couple hours working on this until it was done, and then we did this. Obviously we did other things like eat and watch TV, but this was the most of my day. I'm super excited these are done. I think the stripes are super cute. So that is a project that I knew would be pretty easy to get done, and it is now done. So we should mark this on my whiteboard. I don't really know how to go about marking this. So these are the projects I wanted to finish. So maybe, do I just do a strike through or a check mark? Maybe we just do a check mark. So a check mark in the day I finish them. Maybe. On to the knitting plans for this. Weaving in ends before the end of the year. My Montrealer. I have worked on it a little bit this morning, and I've started the hood. You can't really tell. Here's the sleeve, this is the hood. I decided to do the hood before doing the sleeves just because I feel like the sleeves will take less brain power, so I wanted to do the hood on another day off so that I could try to like figure it out. So this is what I have left on the Montrealer. I have the hood and I have both sleeves. I also have 6 days left, so I'm thinking 2 days per section. So 2 days to do the hood, 2 days to do a sleeve, and 2 days to do a sleeve. I did look in the pattern again, and you don't have to make an I-cord drawstring, and I think I have some leftover drawstring from a pair of pants I was going to sew. So I may be able to get away with just using that drawstring, or maybe I order some drawstring instead of making an I-cord. That's kind of what I'm thinking with that. I think with this I will be cutting it close, but it might be okay. I've done a couple repeats of this hood section today. So the hood is actually knit. You knit the right side and the left side, and then you seam them together. So if I can do the right side today and the left side tomorrow, I should be on track. I've done 2 of 7 repeats on it right now, and then so there's some decreases. And I haven't spent a ton of time on it this morning. It's only like 50 stitches, which is helpful. Then I think I'm just gonna add another sock into the rotation. I'm thinking probably these candy cane socks. If I can get the heel done, it'll be good for on the go again. And then I can kind of rotate between doing the Montrealer and these socks as the day kind of goes on. That's kind of my thought process. I've also thought more about my cozy memories, and I think I really just want to do 6 squares and call it finished. It's not really as large as I would have originally wanted it, but I really don't want to carry it over into the new year. And if anything, like I said yesterday, I can add more to it later if I want. So I'll probably take that downstairs with me as well. I chucked it in here in this Join the Stitches bag. I picked 6 different little scraps and I just need to grab the needles, and I could probably do a square a day. There's 6 days left and then call it done. Which is kind of sad, but also I really just want it done. So it's sad because it's just not as big as I wanted it. If I really do enjoy working on the Cozy Memories, however, next time I would hold fingering weight double, because that would make it go a lot faster, because I could do less stitches, make squares quicker. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. So I am going to use my little light box here and update how much yarn I used for this sock and another projects that I finished. I just take a photo of my stash yarn because I have all of them listed on my Ravelry. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put the scraps away, which there's a basket here that I keep like the bag that this was in and the yarn. So I need to put all that away, and then I'm gonna go watch a podcast and work on these socks and Montrealer. Hi, welcome to Tuesday morning. We've had a little bit of a slow morning. It's been really nice. Did some yoga, did some journaling, did some knitting. Now I'm about to do some work, but I wanted to catch you guys up with my knitting progress so far. So on the Montrealer, I said yesterday, like left hood, right hood, sleeve for 2 days, other sleeve for 2 days. So I did finish the one side of the hood yesterday. Showed a little bit of me knitting it. It looks like a really, really long and skinny rectangle, but when I unfold the edges, I think it's a bit better. This was a lot of knitting. I basically spent the entire day yesterday knitting on this hood, and that was a non-work day. Today is a work day. So I really don't think I'm gonna be able to do the other hood today. Not all of it anyway. I did pick up, oh, my needle is stuck. I did go ahead and pick up the rest of the provisional cast on for the other side of the hood last night after I finished the right side. I've picked up the left side, so now it's ready to go. It's just a matter of doing it. There's some short rows at the beginning, and then it's basically just stockinette with an increase or decrease every so many rows. It's not hard. It was just a lot more knitting time than I anticipated. I am also trying to change my purling technique a little bit. I'm trying to do more of the Norwegian purl because it's supposed to be a little more ergonomic on your hands, because right now I kind of do like the push down, or I'll push it down with my thumb to purl the yarn down, versus the Norwegian purl, you do this little like dance with your right hand, and when I can keep the tension on this hand, it does work nicely, but it just means I was a little bit slower because I was determined to only do Norwegian purls on that because it's knit back and forth. So that's probably why it slowed me down so much. Anyway, just that's something I'm working on. This morning, I spent some time on the heel of these socks. I have about 6 more short rows to resolve because I'm doing a German short row heel. So I'm about 3/4 of the way done with this heel. I want to get this done because I have a doctor's appointment this afternoon. So if I can get the heel done, then this will be easy to take with me because it'll just be in the round again. I do switch to my magic loop when I'm doing the short row heel. I have my 9 inches kind of just hanging out here. It's just that extra needle length is very helpful when you're purling because you knit this back and forth as well. And there's just I'm using my Addy 9-inch circulars, which means this needle is short and this needle is long. And it's easier to purl with this long needle, but it's very, very hard to purl with this short needle. So I have a few more rounds on that to go. So I'll be able to work on that throughout the morning, get these rows done, or get it done on my lunch before going to my doctor's appointment this afternoon. But anyway, I am going to do some work and I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. Good morning, friends, and welcome to a beautiful Thursday morning. There's so much snow outside. We probably got about 8 inches last night, and I've never had this much snowfall in one day in my life, and I love it so much. I'm so happy and so content today. But before my workday starts, I wanted to show you guys some of my knitting progress because I didn't check in yesterday really. So I have just thrown yarn on the ground. So I have been working a lot on this Montrealer. I was concerned I may not finish. I'm feeling more finishable today for the end of the year. I have finished knitting both sides of the hood, and you do a 3 needle bind off at the top. You then leave lots of yarn to then, this is the back of the hood, this giant hole. So I will seam this up so that instead of there being a hole here, it'll be seamed at the back. So yeah, I did that, finally finished that this morning. It still looks really long and skinny, but it is still rolling in a good amount on this back piece. So I think once I seam it, it'll all be good. And then I will go around and pick up on the front edge this piece that's rolling here, and then you knit a drawstring casing area. I have that to do. My drawstring is arriving Saturday. So, and what you do is you like knit it, put the drawstring in, and then fold it over the drawstring to then secure it down so you don't have to thread it through. Although I do have a drawstring threader because they're not super expensive and they're good to have, and it's coming with the drawstring. So it's also coming in case it ever falls out. But after I finished the hood, I've now started on the sleeves. Look at this little baby sleeve. I've done just this gray stripe, and I've actually started the second as well. I think what I'm going to do is, since I have striping and I'll be switching colors, because I hate having two balls attached in two different places. It's like so annoying when they get tangled. I really hate having two or more skeins attached when it's just like chaos. So, but the nice thing, stripes. So every time I switch colors, I cut the yarn. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one stripe here, switch colors, go back and forth. That way I can just kind of do them in tandem. Hopefully it'll feel a little more productive. I can have Shane try it on, see if it's the right length. Once we determine when we need to start the ribbing, I'll be able to do it, and I can just like finish both sleeves at the same time, and I won't have to be like, great, now I have to do a second sleeve. What did I change, any decreases, any kind of that stuff? I won't have to deal with that brain power. I just do one, then the other, stripe, 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 stripe. So that is where I am at that. I mean, we have today and 2 more days until the end of the year, and I just have the seaming of the hood, 2 sleeves, and then like 8 to 10 rounds on that drawstring casing, which I want to do the sleeves before I do that. I wanted to take a little bit of a break from the hood, so I did the hood, came back, we're going to do the sleeves. When we want to break from the sleeves, we'll go back to the hood and seam it up. I just know the seaming is going to take a little focus of like sitting somewhere, probably at our dining room table or at this computer desk, laying it out and focusing on seaming it up. The sun is peeking out. I love it. I really hope the snow sticks around, guys. It's so pretty outside. Okay, so that's this project. I'm glad I have the sleeves in a place where I can just kind of pick it up pretty easily now. The only focusing part is really on like counting for the stripes, and then once the decreases begin. But what I use is I just have so there's 12 markers here for the 12 decreases that I have to do, and every time I do a decrease, I just slide it into that stitch. So this is in a good space. I'm really surprised with how much I've been able to do. Also, if I wasn't doing a hoodie and didn't have to do a pocket and a hood, would I have been done? Probably. But it's fine. Shane's gonna love it. He wears hoodies all the time. The other thing I've been focusing on is this sock. Worked on this a little last night when we were at dinner, and then in the car I was able to do a good chunk of this. I don't think I will finish all the projects that I have on my list for the end of the year. We'll see how far we get. However, there's still a lot of knitting on this Montrealer, and I don't think I'll be able to squeeze 2 pairs of socks in. And I've already decided my Advent shawl, probably not finishing before the end of the year. It'll just have to carry over, I guess. But I have made another decision about something else. So if you remember, this is my not finished section. And I do think I told you that I do want to try to do those 6 squares on my Cozy Memories and get it done and call it done before the end of the year. I've done 1 square. And I said I was going to do 1 a day. So that's still a goal. I don't know if it'll be before the end of the year, but I do think I want to do those 5 squares now and just try to get it done. So I'm gonna rewrite that down here. I'll probably move the adamant shawl up here. And then the campfire socks, I don't know if I should even count as a carryover. It's not like a current whip. It's more like something I want to do if I decide to do it. But it's not like it's a current project. So maybe that just gets taken off because it's not really a whip. I mean, it is an FO. It is a done pair of socks. They're just different sized socks. And in the new year, I would like to make one that fits better. So we're gonna call that not a carryover. The other thing is my Anthology Throw. I started my Anthology Throw with my Nora George Advent. It's so pretty. I do really enjoy how it looks. And it's very meditative, but I don't want to keep working on it. I think I'm gonna rip it out. I'd pretty much already decided I was gonna rip it out, but now talking to you, I'm debating if I'm gonna rip it out, but I think I just need to go with my gut decision. If I want to start it over, I can start it over. But I think I just want to rip this out and not have it carry over into the new year. I started this Advent project kind of on a whim, late in the Advent knitting game, and I've not kept up with it. It stresses me out that I haven't really kept up with it. Looking at my carried over projects with the fact that I had 3 blankets before this one that we're going to carry over, so 4 blankets that we're going to carry over, and I still haven't finished a single blanket. Like, I do not need to have another blanket on my needles. I love my Cozy Comfort Throw, and I want a granny square blanket. This is a whim. I don't necessarily need it. So, I'm gonna rip it out. I'm gonna rip it out, and that's fine. Like I said, if I regret ripping it out, it's only an amount of hours, maybe 10 or less, I don't know. It's not worth it being on my needles right now. I can always restart it. That's like the nice thing about knitting and yarn as a craft, is you can knit it, change your mind, rip it out, reuse it. When you sew, once you cut something out, it's pretty cut. Can't change the size, can't say, oh, I want to use this fabric for something else, because you've already cut it. So that is the one thing I really like about knitting, is I can change my mind afterwards. I can cast on with abandon and then be like, don't really know. So I'm gonna rip that out. I'm gonna rip it out probably during this meeting, because I've been knitting for a little bit this morning and my hand needs a break. So during this meeting, I'm gonna rip out this blanket. And I feel good about that decision, so I'll take you guys with me a little bit more today. We are in our countdown for this end of the year. I mean, we went from having 6 projects that we're gonna carry over of my to try to finish pile. Went from 6, we finished 2, on track to finish the 3rd, might be able to finish the 4th. So that's pretty exciting. Plus we're ripping out one of these, and we made a decision about one of the projects I was going to carry over. So I know that was like a big ramble of nothing. I'm making progress. We're getting it done. We're really just focusing a lot on Montrealer, which we are counting like stitches knit. It's a good chunk. So pretty excited about that. All right, anyway, I need to get to this meeting, and I will see you guys soon. Good morning! Is this vlog all over the place? Potentially. We're working on it. I want to get into more of these long form kind of vlogs, taking you with me more often. really enjoyed just picking up the camera and putting it down when I can. But it also may be a coherent hot mess because we're working on it, because we haven't done many of these. So we'll see. If you've stuck with me this long, thank you. But I wanted to give you a little progress on this sweater this morning. We only have a few hours of work today, and then we are knitting until the new year. That's kind of fun to think. So I think I showed you this yesterday, the hood with no back. I want to do this today. I have I got a new camera holder tripod thingy for my phone so that you can record top-down things. I'm excited about it. So I want to record the sieving process, maybe as a time lapse, maybe as a reel, something for the Instagram. So I want to do that. It still looks so tiny because it rolls in. That's where that is still. And then I have, let me situate this so it looks a little better. I have started working on the sleeves. And like I said, I am doing them tandem. So I go up to a gray stripe, like the light stripe, and then I will switch sleeves and do the other one. I put my Cocoa Knits end stoppers on the one I'm not working on so that my stitches don't fall off as I continually rotate it around. I love sleeves because decreasing is just so nice to increase your speed. So I'm at the decreases. I did the 3 inches of plain and then started doing decreases. I've done 2 or 3 and we're just working back and forth. For a day of sleeve knitting, I think that's pretty good. It feels like a good amount of progress. Well, it feels like a little bit of progress when you look at the sleeve, but then you think that I've done it twice. And then when I finish these sleeves, I'll be finishing both sleeves. That just feels really, really nice. This end stopper has been stretched out so it keeps falling off of this needle. I need to put a smaller one on. But also, look at this ribbing. It keeps flipping up. So I was going to steam block it, but Orna and Carlos say you're not supposed to steam block your ribbing. So how do I get this to stay down flat? We're gonna have to see. But yeah, that is the sleeve so far. It's nice because the stripes versus the sleeve decreases are an even divide. So say the stripe pattern was 10 rounds and you decrease every 5, so then you're decreasing on the same stripe every time. So like I decrease on the first light gray every time and I decrease on the second dark gray every time. So I don't even really have to count anymore. It's just first gray decrease, second dark gray decrease. They're both gray, so that was a confusing sentence. Anyway, I obviously slept really good last night. I have a little bit of energy as I'm talking to you this morning. There's still so much snow. Yesterday I literally jumped into like an 8-inch, 10-inch pile of snow and made a snow angel for the first time in my life, like a big snow angel, and that was lovely. I also proceeded to drop my phone completely in the snow because it was in my pocket. So I have both the animals in here with me. You can see Sherlock just barely. They both like this room because the sunshine comes in. Anyway, I'm gonna go to work. We're gonna work for a bit and then definitely gonna work on this later. Oh, I also definitely ripped out my Anthology Throw yesterday during the meeting. I have my 4 mini skeins back and don't regret it. Happy with that decision. I did have like a moment of like, oh, I do really like this. Do I want to rip it out? And then I ripped it out anyway. So that's where we're at. It's kind of funny to record throughout the week because you can see how much my thoughts change versus my projects. Versus when I record a podcast, I'm like, this is how I feel in this moment. But throughout a week, I'm like, oh, do I want to do my anthology throw? No, I don't want to. Oh, my cozy memories. I'll do 6 squares. I'll try to do it before the end of the year. No, I won't. Maybe I will. And now I'm like, maybe I'll just keep my cozy memories because I actually really do like it and I do want a big blanket out of it. Even though I had decided like yesterday that I was going to finish it and call it done. Yesterday I was working on a square and I was like, maybe I don't want to call this done. So welcome to my chaotic brain. It's a lovely place in my chaos. I just don't know if I should give Ebony a cozy memories blanket, whereas I could just keep working on it. I think the thing is that I feel behind technically because what I was doing is I was pulling out the 5 grams per square when I finished projects and I was putting it into the bag. And then I was like looking at all the 5 grams and I was like, wow, there's so many. I'm never going to catch up. And then this past year, I did not pull out my 5 grams from any fingering projects. So like I haven't pulled aside any of that, but I don't like putting the full skeins into that project bag because then there's all of my scraps are there because I don't work on it quickly. So I think maybe what I'll do, if I do decide to keep it on the needles, this is the plan. We'll see. Say I finish a pair of socks. I then, that weekend, the weekend after finishing the pair of socks, or whatever day I decide I work on my cozy memories, whatever day that becomes, I need to put in that leftover from the socks that I just finished. And if I do it, like I don't finish things every week and I don't finish fingering weight things every week. So if I knit in the things that I'm finishing as I finish them instead of just pulling out 5 grams and letting them sit, maybe I can keep up. I just think I do need to take a day like Sundays or whatever day, you know, find something to pair it with. I don't know. I would have to figure it out. Figure out a time every week where I have 40 minutes to just knit a square because then I would probably keep up. Anyway, thank you for listening to this ramble about my cozy memories. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I do like looking at the blanket. So anyway, I'm actually gonna go to work now. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Happy New Year, friends! Was this video supposed to end yesterday night? Yes. Yes, it was. Did it? No. We are on January 1st of 2023, and that means this week of weaving in ends, wrapping up loose ends as we go into 2023 is done. And guys, the Montrealer is finished. I'm counting this as it's not a rollover. I finished this morning. Literally the only thing I had left was binding off this little hood casing and then weaving it down. I was just so tired last night that I couldn't stay up. And if I had taken some extra hour somewhere in the day, it would have been done. But we're here. It's January 1st. This project is done. I'm so happy. So on Shane, it's a bit oversized, but he wanted kind of like a baggy hoodie kind of shape. And look at this hood. It's huge. I was able to do the drawstring really easy because you just knit and fold it over. The drawstring hole was really kind of fun to create. And then I got just a drawstring on Amazon. I will link it down below in case you ever need drawstring. It is there. And I'll link it in my Ravelry project page. But this is done. This big sweater project is done. And it's crazy to think I picked it up and probably had one stripe done when I picked it up on the 20th of December. And I did so much knitting because you have to, in addition to a normal raglan sweater, you also have to knit the pocket lining, the pocket edges, a hood, seam the hood, and drawstring casings. Like, she's a lot of knitting, this sweater, but I think it looks really, really good. I will definitely make Shane model some photos once I get it blocked and like laid out to dry. Let's do a little recap of the week and the knitting that I was able to get done in 1 week. And then what projects I am bringing over from 2022 into 2023, because it's now 2023. It's January 1st. So this week I was able to finish my Advent socks and my embroidery. So I took a day, I think it was last Saturday when I started this challenge, started the video. I finished this embroidery kit and I finished my Advent socks. So these are done. Those are 2 projects that I was able to get done. And those are like pretty close to the end, so I knocked them out pretty quickly. And then I ended up focusing the rest of the week mainly on Shane's Montrealer. So overall, in my week, these are all the things I finished. In a week, that's pretty good. I mean, like I said, it's not like I started these and finished them in the week. I was just trying to wrap up some loose ends. And then for other things that I wanted to finish, but obviously didn't because I mostly knit on that Montrealer and it took a lot of time. So, my Christmas jammy socks, didn't work on them at all this week. My candy color socks, those are the socks I did work on a bit. I'm probably about halfway through the foot of the first sock. And I know I did say I need to finish those before January because they're Christmassy, and I still feel that. But they will be good socks to have on the needles because they are for Shane. They're 64 stitches. I'm doing them a bit longer. So if we go to a movie or we're out anywhere, those are good socks to have on the needles. I did finish the Montrealer, so I should check that off. And then the other thing on here that I'm carrying over is my Advent shawl, which is a pattern by Molly Klatt. And I didn't work on that at all this week. Again, because I was mostly focusing between that pair of socks and the Montrealer. I can really only focus on a couple projects at a time. But those are done. And then back to the not to finish, but we'll be carrying over, and we've had a little heart-to-heart change of decisions in this category. Anthology Throw. Frogged it. Done. Not coming into 2023. Cozy Memories and Granny Square blanket I knew I was going to bring into the new year. Was excited about bringing them into the new year. Still happy to have them. Do think I need to have a day to work on them. Maybe Sundays are those days. We'll see. Haven't made any decisions about that yet. And then my Cozy Memories blanket. Beginning of the week, I had decided I was going to do the 6 squares and then call it done. And now I've started working on it and I don't want to call it done. So it's just going to be a really long-term whip, I think. I don't know if blankets don't count towards your total whip count, right? They're supposed to be long-term projects. How long-term? I don't know. But that is how the week went. I was able to finish 3 projects and I frogged 1. And I think that's pretty good considering the one project was a massive sweater for my husband and it's quite large. So it was a lot of knitting. I think in total I counted it's like 13 skeins of my wool of the Andes, so it's like 750 grams, maybe closer to 700 because I didn't use all of the red, but it was a good amount. But I'll talk more about details about that in a future podcast episode. But with that, that is the end of this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a style I'm still trying to figure out. I will see in the edit how it kind of all comes together. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope I was able to keep you company and it was fun to take you guys with me throughout this week. It's nice to be able to just grab little snippets throughout the week and sit and chat kind of in the moment how I'm feeling about some things. So I do really enjoy that. Ebony is on my lap and can't deal with that right now. Anyway, if you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Subscribing makes sure you see my future videos and it's a free way to help support the channel. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for watching. I hope you've put a little bit of love into every stitch of your making and I will see you guys very, very soon. We did it. 2022 is done and it's the new year, guys. I will see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.